The honourable member for Calgary-Fish Creek.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As BC's election results remain murky, what is clear is that Alberta may end up the loser, no matter the outcome. With the Green Party potentially holding the balance of power, Dr. Weaver has reaffirmed the Greens' election campaign promise to oppose Trans Mountain, stating he and his members believe it is their responsibility to stop the project. To the Minister of Energy, your public confidence is admirable, but can you confidently say today that the Trans Mountain pipeline is any closer to being built than the Northern Gateway ever was?
The Honourable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, we continue to do the work we've done, and so does Kinder Morgan with Trans Mountain. As we speak, they are in BC talking. We continue with our relationships as we've done. These relationships and this adult way of dealing with pipelines has gotten us not just one, but 2 approvals. It's also been our climate leadership plan that got us those approvals as well, and we're going to continue that good work, Madam Speaker.
So the answer is no. Madam Speaker, given that the Trans Mountain Pipeline was approved after a rigorous assessment by the National Energy Board, and given that BC negotiated $1.5 billion worth of environmental protection and services with the federal government, and a 20-year revenue-sharing agreement worth $1 billion with Kinder Morgan, and given that these factors, coupled with carbon taxes in both BC and Alberta, have resulted in absolutely zero compromise from those who oppose pipelines. Again, to the minister, will you admit today that your attempts to obtain social license have been an abysmal failure?
Honourable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What I will admit is that our plan is working. We got permissions for 2 pipelines. We continue that work till shovels in the ground. None of that has changed. We've formed good relationships with BC and with Cross Canada. The only ones who don't seem to want these pipelines are across the way. These pipelines are not just good for Alberta, Madam Speaker. They're good for Canada, for Saskatchewan pipeline makers, for our workers in Alberta. I don't know why you oppose it. On this side of the House, we're standing up for those pipelines.
Second supplemental.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The current flow measurement is 0. Given that throughout the BC elections, Albertans got to see their favourite eco-radical stand with a leader and a party that are wholly opposed to Alberta's best interests, and given that the Minister of Environment seemed to indicate during question period last week that the composition of the Oil Sands Advisory Group would be changing. To the Minister of Energy, as we have called for repeatedly, will Sephora Berman be removed from the Oil Sands Advisory Group by the time we return for fall session, thereby making life better for Albertans?
The Minister for Environment and Parks responsible for climate change.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And of course, what makes life better for Albertans is getting those pipelines approved and getting shovels in the ground as soon as possible. Madam Chair, the other thing that makes life better is working with oil sands companies in order to invest in innovation, which is the second phase of the work that will be undertaken by the Oil Sands Advisory Group. Madam Chair, we're working in consultation with industry and with community group and with First Nations in a respectful way in the oil sands region, Madam Chair, to ensure that we are moving forward with developing our economy and our resources in a way that's responsible for future generations.